was so different, so clean and classy and beautiful and abstract and all the things that make tattooing loose and tight and fine and wonderful.
People tend to think the body has restrictions on certain points, and the whole point of Trash Polka is to look at the whole body as a canvas and be able to stretch those limits.
Trash Polka can move from one part of the body to another. It's very free-flowing in that sense.
It's a mix between nature and chaos. The bold style, the realism, it'll kind of splash off the arm across the body.
When you take a really well-done portrait, and then you take this boldness of, say, a silhouette, and it stops you for at least a minute, where you want to look at it and say, oh my God, that's really cool. Trash Polka does that to people.
Tattooing was actually nothing that I had planned. I went to law school. I got a degree in sociology and criminology. I was actually selling a BlackBerry on Craigslist one day, and someone had messaged me to trade a tattoo kit for the BlackBerry. And I've always been really good at art, but it was nothing that I was ever planning on doing for money or anything. And then when tattooing fell into my hand, it was just like, started doing some free ones on some friends, and then that kind of overnight turned into people wanting to pay for it, and it became something I was able to do for a living.
I got into tattooing about 18 years ago or so. I actually kind of fell into it. I ended up getting a flat tire on my way to work one day, and I pulled into the place to get my tire fixed. I had some art sitting on my seat, and the guy who was fixing my tire happened to be into tattooing and offered to teach me how. We went from there.
I discovered Trash Polka pretty early on when I started tattooing. I was lucky enough to take a trip over to London to do a convention over there. If you go overseas, they just have a much more abstract sense of the way they do things. They like the smeariness, they like paintbrush strokes, they like the big graphic look. When you start talking about American traditional, that's super awesome to them because nobody does it over there. So that is just as cool to them, really, as Trash Polka is to us. It's just because it's not common. And in art, who wants to be common? Trash Polka was invented by two tattoo artists in Germany named Volko and Simone. They are both musicians and artists. They opened Buena Vista Tattoo Club in 1998. What Volko and Simone did was they took all these rules and kind of set them aside, and they just used the whole entire body as a canvas. They wanted to create a tattoo style that kind of represented their music. The style is a way of meshing realism with trash. Polka is a type of folk dance that's really common overseas. If this is something that you really want to get and you want a true natural Trash Polka piece, you cannot get a Trash Polka piece from anybody but Simone and Volko. You gotta go to Germany and you gotta go to Buena Vista Tattoo Club, and that's where you can get one at.
The art that has been coming out of those two people, it has line, structure, depth, boldness, softness. I think most of the people that are tattooed by them would probably prefer not to wear clothing anymore. Your body has become a canvas because that's how amazing you look now. I just love it.
Trash Polka is oftentimes a collage of very random things put together. One of the coolest things about Trash Polka is the way you can take things that really have nothing to do with each other. You've got your natural elements and your chaotic elements, and you're able to kind of collage them all together and make it look like one piece of art. That's why the style is so rare and hard to do.
I think Trash Polka has a certain energy that almost reflects the German language. You know, it's very beautiful, but it's very brash. There will be lines that cut a total section off, but that negative element becomes part of the tattoo. Open skin can be just as much part of the art as solid black.
A lot of that style of tattooing is going to be very mechanical, and then it's going to be soft like a face or skin. And then there's going to be something really hard in it, like a wire or a building. When they harmonize right, you might have a really nice Trash Polka style tattoo.
When a Trash Polka tattoo is done right, it should definitely tell a story. The photo that you choose to reference for your piece is the most important part of it. That's what your tattoo is going to look like. So a lot of times when we come in, we'll spend 2 or 3 hours just finding one image, even if it's something as basic as a rose. It's a rose that's going to go on them for the rest of their life. You need the perfect rose. And it's like a puzzle. Whichever one looks best in that angle, that's kind of the one you want to go with.
most people have a backstory for why they want the tattoo or what the tattoo means. And I always like to get at least 5 or 10 minutes of that because I really feel I do a better job when I kind of know what it meant to them or why they're doing it. So an element that I would have made soft before, maybe I'll make it hard because it should be more important. When I start to do a Trash Polka style tattoo on somebody, I try to bring in those elements that make people want to know the story of why you got that done. An anchor is an anchor sometimes, or a rose is a rose sometimes, but when a rose is with a skull that's bleeding and there's sadness, I think that just speaks volumes.
With Trash Polka, you definitely see a lot of lettering. It's very graphic, it's very heavy. Certain quotes or phrases that'll really punch out and give a specific meaning to the tattoo.
Trash Polka is supposed to be turning your body into one piece of art. You will see black and gray and the realism side of it. You'll generally see large, bold areas of black mixed with one single color.
Color use with the Trash Polka tattoo is usually minimalist. Punches of red, punches of blue. A lot of softer tones to really contrast the dark blacks and heavy shading.
I'm mostly a traditionally black and gray tattoo artist, but when you mess with that Trash Polka type style, you're definitely going to be using an accent color. Red, blue is popular, something that can contrast that black really nice.
One of the really cool things about Trash Polka, and this is one of my favorite things, is the boldness is designed to see from across the room. It's just the style that I've always been doing. I can truly say that even if I wasn't getting paid, I'd probably still want to come in here and do what I do.
To me, Trash Polka is blending a whole piece that works with the body. It just inspired me because I wasn't seeing anything like that. It's really amazing.
People come to us for tattooing that's bold and abstract. Trash Polka offer that wow factor that, oh my God, that's really cool. You get such a beautiful feeling. It's your stories right there for everyone to see.